I talked about a mess of hardcore movies on this channel, and I'm constantly searching for a movie that pushes the envelope just a little further. I have, however, seen most of the major and notable disturbing films. This is going to be my top 10 most disturbing movies. If there is a place for transgression in art, then here it is. Bam! The number 10 spot goes to Gummo. This nihilistic film portrays the lives of many degenerate people living in a small town in Ohio that was hit by a tornado. This town is in shambles and, well, never really recovered. Many of the kids lead their own lives completely separate from whatever adults are, well, left alive. The thing is, nothing really happens in this whole movie, but that adds to the disturbing factor. This movie earns a spot on this list due to its transgressive approach to life and childhood. It's interesting to mention also that the actors actually live in the town where this was filmed, and sadly, this movie is probably the highlight of their lives. Number 9. The Human Centipede 2. The first Human Centipede movie was incredibly popular for being so messed up in concept, but compared to many others I've seen, that movie doesn't even come close to disturbing. However, Tom Six made a sequel that shut every single one of the haters up. This movie is all the blood and gore that the first one should have been. The number 9 spot is The Human Centipede 2. Jesus, this movie is disgusting. I've seen a lot of movies in my life, but this movie has a way of turning my stomach in a way that no other does. I put this one on after liking the first one somewhat and was surprised as hell at what they threw at us. I say again, Jesus. A woman stomps on a baby in this movie. Enough said. Number 8. Audition. Takashi Miike is a director that doesn't mess around or hold back. Audition received somewhat a mainstream success as an overall scary film that has inspired many of the horror directors working today. This film is exactly what you would think it is. When watching this movie, the first half didn't have anything remotely disturbing or scary in it, but by the time the film was over, the second half made up for it. The violence and gore, on top of the atmosphere and well-done mystery spot, just works and makes for a hellish ending that stirs the hell out of me. Number 7. Ichi the Killer. 2 Takashi Miike films in a row? Yes. Ichi the Killer is everything Audition is times 10. The gore is turned way up, the pain and suffering we're put through is difficult as hell to watch. This movie has everything. I feel like if you want to see something truly disturbing and get into the genre of extreme films, this is a good place to start. If you can handle this film, I firmly believe that you can handle almost anything. Well, almost anything. Number 6. Mártires. This movie is basically 2 movies. The first movie is about 2 girls who go after this family and kill them. The second is about them dealing with the consequences of this in a very extreme way. It's incredibly difficult to express my feelings on this movie without spoiling it. It's a really cool movie that is also depressing as hell, but worth a watch. If you want to see a strong movie that has an element of insightfulness, this is the movie for you. That's why it makes my list. And one of the purposes of film is to leave you thinking long after the movie's over, and well, this one makes you think. Number 5. August Underground. A lot of people discuss snuff films and how close we can come to it without actually, making it real. This is as close to a snuff film as I have ever seen. August Underground is a disgusting found footage movie with annoying characters, no real plot, and is an absolute waste of your time. I know this film has like a cult following or whatever, but I just don't get it. Out of all the films I've seen, this movie is one of those films that I urge people not to check out on the basis that they could watch anything else, like anything. However, if you decide to check this out for curiosity purposes, be aware that, although it is somewhat convincing in the violence and gore department, they try a little too hard to shock you. They also think that by shooting this whole movie on a camera they got in the 80s at a garage sale, that we'll be more convinced, but I see this as the major problem with the movie. Number 4. Inside. This movie's awesome. A lot of elements from the previous films converge in this film. It's depressing, nihilistic, violent, gory, and taboo-breaking. Not to mention, it gives us everything we want to see and everything we don't. This movie is disturbing as hell on every level, and it works. Inside is about a pregnant woman who gets her home invaded, and the invader wants that baby. The movie is relentless, and once it starts, it never stops, pauses, or gives you any time to catch your breath. Number 3, a Serbian film. Taboo-breaking, violent, gory, relentless, unsettling, and unforgivable, a Serbian film is often noted as the most disturbing movie of all time. I disagree with this on the basis that I have seen 2 movies I would consider worse, but that doesn't mean that this movie isn't kind of awesome. A lot of people claim that this movie is an abomination, is so disgusting that it has no artistic merits, and that it's something that shouldn't exist altogether. Again, I disagree. This movie is disturbing, I won't lie to you, but it's just a movie, and unlike the 2 movies I will discuss after this, you can basically tell at times that this is fake. So the element of artistic filmmaking is still there and ceases to make me feel like this is real. However, it is disturbing as hell to the normal person and will basically upset you. Number 2, Cannibal Holocaust. Now we're talking. Cannibal Holocaust has long had a reputation for being the most controversial film of all time, considering the director was arrested on obscenity charges. It was also the first found footage film, and on that basis, it feels pretty real. Not to mention, many of the animal deaths in the film were not faked or altered, and were carried out by the actors. This film is disturbing on a couple levels, but for the most part, it hits home due to the explicit nature of the found footage style. Nothing gets left out and it puts it right in your face, including, but not limited to, rape, murder, animal slaughter, torture, stoning, murder, and did I mention rape and other stuff? This movie is truly no holds barred and well deserves this place on the list. Number 1, Salo, or 120 Days of Sodom. Pier Paolo Pasolini's final film, Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom, was such a difficult experience filming for one actor that he literally murdered the director. That happened. This movie is the epitome of psychological torture. There's everything in this film, from torture, murder, almost constant full frontal nudity, pedophilia, rape, and corporophagia. And if you don't know what that is, just look it up. This movie is truly disturbing on the merits of it being heartbreaking as hell, and sadly, mostly realistic to how the actors were actually treated in the process of filming this work. The most interesting element here is that often what you see on screen was actually what was going on, and was hardly movie magic. Pasolini wanted the gritty realness, and he got that, with a level of psychological torture that the actors were put through filming this movie. If you want to see a movie that can do nothing else but disturb and sicken you, just to see how many liberties one director can take on a cast, Salo delivers. So that's my list on the top 10 most disturbing movies ever made. There are some honorable mentions for me, like Pink Flamingos, Visitor Q, and Funny Games, but these don't make my personal list. So what's your list of the top 10 most messed up films you've ever seen? Put your list in the comments below and we shall discuss. Thanks for watching, guys, and as usual, like, comment, and subscribe for more.